And we're here live tonight on the 941 Sports Zone. I'm John Mussone here with my usual partner, Mr. John Peacock, and Coach. We're doing a lot of live stuff.
This is the uncensored show. It's live.
We just did a coach's show live.
We did it last week. We were
we were fine with it. And then now we're doing again the podcast again live, kind of taking this format through the next few weeks with how the schedule is and holidays and everything else. And
we've got a special guest.
We do have a special guest.
So I'm going to be here just a short period of time, and then we're going to let our special guest take over.
I'll tell you who it is, Mr. Josh Hunter. Josh is a very opinionated guy. Got a lot of things to say. We're looking forward to hearing him talk a little bit about local games and maybe some rivalry things in college football. So we'll get into some stuff with him. But for you and I to talk right now, obviously what's firmly on your mind going into this weekend, this Friday night, is the Riverview Rams and the regional finals that'll be taking place at Powell Davis Stadium at 7:30 on Friday night. We know that this is everybody knows each other. Everybody's familiar with each other. A lot of games played in the last few years against each other. Things are getting a little tighter. You know, they're getting a little closer.
Closing the gap. Closing the gap.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you got to give a little
preview. We're gonna play really good football. We're gonna play really good football. Riverview is a very good football team. You know, their record is really not indicative of how good a football team they are. They've had some losses that came in the closing minutes of their game. CAI.
Controversial,
right? You know, so so the record's really not indicative. And they played Buchholz, Buchholz is the number one team in our class right now, who's undefeated, 12-0, and played them tight. You know, they played them down to the wire, and so I think their record is not indicative of how good a football team they are.
Yeah, and again. In those, when you schedule harder games of CAI or Buchholz, there is that proposition or potential to lose some of those games. But doesn't mean that you're a worse team for it. Sometimes it's an improvement situation. You get to see how
you play better. You play better competition. You're going to naturally become better. I mean, you can't anything but help it. And that's one thing I really do believe in. Like if you play the best teams you can possibly play. You're gonna go one way or the other. You know, if you're not ready and your kids aren't willing to rise up to that level, then you're gonna crash and burn. But if your kid you have a team that, hey, we got to get better, and your players are going to rise to that level and rise to that competition, you're going to naturally get better.
If you looked at the brackets right now, the teams that you know or whatever you may know, maybe the 4S teams or maybe some of the 4M teams, you watch them, and their records aren't undefeated in a lot of cases.
Right.
But they are the teams that have played the other teams. And so you watch and say, oh, we're all in the Final Four right now, if you want to call it. Or
I don't think there are too many. I mean, I can think of a couple in Buchholz and Chaminade, but other than that, I don't really know if there are a whole lot of undefeated teams right now.
No, they're not. And like I said, that's what you see these teams that have sort of have those.
We did in 2000. We were undefeated, but our other two championships, we were not undefeated. No.
And I think a lot of that is, again, I know you say this, that no loss is a good loss. A loss is a loss.
Yeah, it's never good.
But I think a lot of times in those situations. You get the feel for certain things.
Right.
There's things you can look at, and even sometimes for the players in particular, what they expected as far as maybe the output of what they were going to put into a game is now like, okay, in order for me to win, I've got to do something more than I gave the last time, and I think that can be helpful in some cases.
Exactly, and no win is good, but
no loss is good.
No loss is good. Exactly. All wins are good.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But I think you can learn some things from a loss. Not saying that you ever want to lose to learn something. I'd rather learn the easy way than the hard way. But you definitely, when you play tougher teams and tougher competitions, if you have the team that you think you have, and you're going to get better. So I think that's one thing that Riverview's done. They've gotten better on defense, a whole lot better on defense than when they started the year. And offensively, they continue to grow. They have some really good receivers, and Anthony Campbell, and their quarterback is dynamic. One of the best quarterbacks in the area. They're
tough guy, big.
Yeah, and runs the ball extremely hard. We saw that in our first game.
Yeah.
And then you have the two running backs, who are really, really tough kids, tough players. And, they played really well defensively on us last time. And we only scored, I think, the lowest output of points that we've had in the last 6 games, maybe?
Easily, yeah.
So, and we were able to we put some on late. We just barely were able to score. We had a big break there at the end. We got the ball in our own territory, and our Platte had a big punt return, and we were able to attack one on late. So really, the game, the last time we were playing, they're up 14-7 with the ball, getting ready to go up 21-7 on us, and we had a bunch of huge breaks, and we played well. We played really well, and we had some big breaks go our way. So we're going to have to play really good this time. Again,
and at this point, every team you play. I'm not nothing about the first 2 rounds, but by this time, when you get to the region, the other team is playing well or has played well for a long time. At this point.
You got to.
You can't. You don't kind of fall your way or get lucky your way into a regional final. This doesn't happen.
And our region's kind of it's kind of strange because you're looking at last week with Manatee and Riverview, and you're almost like you can almost flip a coin on which one's going to win that, and it came down to.
Yeah, close.
Yeah, very close.
And like I said, that's what I'm saying. In both with either team, like I said, would be no surprise if Manatee was there. Wouldn't be no surprise if Riverview is there because you watch them all year. You watch how they play. They play solid football. They've had big wins. They know how to play big games. They've been in. Obviously, the last week was a big game for Riverview to play
away
at Manatee. We know how tough it is to play there.
And now they're used to that. They're used to being on the road, and they got to come to Venice. And it's probably nothing to them.
They're looking at it now, and saying we've been battle tested. We're more than ready for this. So their attitude's going to be sky high, and just now a matter of matching their enthusiasm or exceeding their enthusiasm in order to make a win.
Yeah, that's one thing that we have been talking about a lot is that we can't take anything for granted, and there's a lot of people talking about state championships, and this is the 3rd round of the playoffs. Like, we are so far removed right now from a state championship, and have so far to go from that. It's mind blowing. People are even talking about it.
Yeah,
it's almost to the point where you almost feel like we got some people that are kind of spoiled around here. Like, it's not normal. The normal thing isn't to go to a state championship. That's uncommon.
Right.
That's not what's supposed to happen every year. So we're going to we are so laser focused on this task at hand. I think our kids are laser focused on. We've had great week of practice. So, especially not being in school and kind of having a new schedule. We've been going in the morning, but laser focus, and kids have done a great job of adapting to that. We've had some great ones versus ones periods. Our team period, all 3 days so far have been really good. Our mindset of our team, the culture of our locker room right now, and just where everybody's head is at and what we're thinking is great. We have I have a leadership committee that actually me and Coach Hunter both meet with them. Usually every Thursday. We met today, Wednesday, went out for breakfast and met with them, and they are so dialed in to what we're accomplishing and what we're trying to accomplish. And one thing I always ask them is well, tell me about the locker room. How's the locker room?
Yeah.
I want to know.
Yeah, I want to know what's going on.
Tell me. Yeah. You don't have to give me names, but do tell me. Are we dialed in? Are we focused on what we're supposed to be doing as a coach? They're like, it's been the best it's been.
Yeah,
it's best it's been. So and they know what I'm talking about when I say how's the locker room. Because sometimes in this, I've been doing this a long time. So there's been years where we're late and we're in the playoffs, and you got kids that are like, I can't wait till this is over.
Yeah,
can't wait till
this is over. It's a long time.
I can't wait till the season's over. We don't have that right now, and I don't think we've had that in a long time. I think one thing is we don't practice very long.
Right,
we're in and out.
You're not wearing down.
How are you going to be I'm so sick of this? It's like we go out, we stretch, we practice for an hour, and we're back in. And today we had Kona ice. Yeah. Who doesn't want that? I'll practice. You might ask someone. They might say, "Hey, I'll practice for an hour for some Kona ice."
No doubt.
So and then they get pizza every Thursday. It's just we're trying to reward success, reward hard work. Those kids work their tail off from January to December right now or to November.
And nothing makes them happier than some form of food.
Yeah, and then they get rewarded, for our game. We're playing a big game against a big-time opponent. We're going to have everybody that's home for Thanksgiving come watch it, and
there's going to be a lot of folks that haven't seen a Venice game coming to see their grandchildren or come see their nephews and whatever it's going to be. So it's a big deal.
I think a lot of people are excited for the Turkey Bowl tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like how we were excited for the backups and then when they do well and when they score.
Right.
I mean, it's going to be the same atmosphere tomorrow. I cannot wait. We're going to smoke the defense. Like, really, I'm being honest. Like, I feel kind of bad. Like, we had Gator 2 years ago. Like, I knew we were going to smoke the defense, but we're going to smoke the defense tomorrow.
And it's fun. It's a good time in the morning that we do that and do that stuff. And traditionally it's been that way. You got to earn that that practice though.
8 in a row, Coach. 8. We've been there. Knock on wood.
Earn it.
Knock on wood. We can keep going. 8 years in a row. We've been to the 4th round.
Yep.
Not just here. 8 years in a row, we've been to the 4th round. Not just to this game, the next one too.
I know.
So we got to make sure that we continue that, and we are dialed in what we're doing, and I think we really are. I think we're in a good spot. Real
quick before I know you got to go, we're going to bring Josh Hunter in after we do take a break. But other teams in the area, we got Booker at Bishop Faroe and Cardinal Mooney hosting.
What I do last week?
Christian.
We make some predictions. What I go? I went Riverview. I know that.
Right, and I went Manatee and I was wrong.
I went Lemon Bay.
I went Booker.
Did I go Lemon Bay?
I think we both went Booker.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
So we were there,
right
there. And then I think
we didn't know Mooney, or we didn't know who was the other one.
We didn't know. We didn't.
Port
Charlotte.
Oh, I went Naples.
Yeah.
I was 3 for 3.
Yeah, and I said, I said that there was going to be the 3 teams are going to be in the regions.
I went Booker, and we have to look back at our podcast over the summer.
Right.
If I predicted Booker to just be in the regional championship or to win it.
I had them winning it. I think you had them just getting in it. I had them winning it. I had Mooney win it, and I had us winning it. That was my three regional finals.
You had Mooney winning it, Booker winning it, and us winning it.
Yes.
That's not going to happen.
Well, that's the situation. So that's where we're at right now. But again,
that will not happen.
Two home games. Mooney will be home. We'll be home, and then Booker goes down to Bishop Faroe, which is a very, very highly touted team, very talented team. So it'll be definitely a challenge for them. But they beat the number 2 team. They beat Fort Meade early on, and they redemption game against Lemon Bay. So maybe that momentum will carry them a little further as well.
Well, I'm not going to make predictions tonight. I don't think it's fair.
Nah.
But I'm going to tell you this. There's going to be 2 of these teams move on. And maybe we take a picture of it. The one in the middle's not.
Okay.
Guarantee
I'll remember that.
Guarantee
I remember that. Okay.
But we got to have some proof. We got to have some proof. We got to take a picture of that so we can show it next week. Hey, this is the picture.
This is the one he picked.
This is the one in the middle. We said that wasn't going to happen.
No doubt. All right, well, Coach, it's a lot of excitement tomorrow morning. It'll be fun. Obviously, Friday night, big game. Everybody, please, if you're any fan of football and you're just in the area of just visiting, come see this football game. You'll have a great time with it. It's high level, high rivalry, high intensity, you name it. Has all those good things going for it. So just come on out and watch.
Yep, it'll be a really good football game, real good atmosphere, playing a great team, great program with great coaches that'll have their team ready to play.
Absolutely. So with that, thank you, Coach John Peacock. We'll take a break, come back here, and Coach Josh Hunter will come and sit here, and we'll talk a little bit more about some of the local stuff and then some things about some rivalries and what the kind of leading into the FSU Florida game as well, a big game here in the state of Florida. Be back right here from Bogies live on the 941 Sports Zone after this.
Douglas Jeep Chrysler Dodge Ram is excited to announce Black Friday savings all month long during the Black Friday sales event. Get a great deal on a new Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab from only $369 per month. Or drive a new Jeep Renegade Latitude from only $319 per month. Drive a new Jeep Grand Cherokee from only $399 per month. Get Black Friday savings all month long during the Black Friday sales event going on now at Douglas Jeep Chrysler Dodge Ram in Venice. Who has Black Friday savings all month long? Douglas does!
And we're back here at Bogies live with the 941 Sports Zone with our special guest, Coach Josh Hunter. Josh, thank you for being here tonight. I know this is something we've been kind of talking about a little bit and got you here to talk a little football and whatever else is on your mind. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, we talked about it for a little bit. I fought it, and I told Coach, I guess guess you got to bite the bullet at some point.
It's Thanksgiving, you know what I mean? You kind of let your guard down a little bit. Big day tomorrow, so it'll be a fun day. But obviously, if you don't know, Coach Hunter is the offensive line coach for the Venice Indians, and obviously you've been there for a little bit. Give me talk about your guys a little bit, your offensive line guys. It's been they have sort of galvanized, I would say, the word I would use, over the last half of the season, and look really good. I mean, obviously you have your opinions on that probably matter more than mine.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we had a majority of them back from last year, from the state championship game that we went to. And, like I said, we started off, kind of very similar last year, but a little bit further ahead than we were. And, I feel like, throughout the year we've faced some adversity. And, obviously we've had some injuries with, Mock, breaking his leg.
Yeah.
We had Lance got hurt, and then, like I said, right now Tank's been out, with a knee, so we've had to have guys step up. But guys have gotten experience throughout the year, so it's been really good, to see the guys that maybe weren't getting as much playing time in the games, but getting that experience in practice that really stepped up and helped us, get continue to get better.
So bridging from our conversation with Coach Peacock to you guys are both on the offensive side of the ball. The D-line from Riverview, what do they present as far as problems? What would you expect from them? Which you didn't see last time.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think Mark Christiani. I've known him very well from his playing days at Venice, and then obviously as a coach, he went to Eastern as well as I did. They do a great job. He is unbelievable with how he gets guys ready. Their defense is extremely aggressive, extremely tough. Those kids are well coached. They line up, very well. They're very similar to us. Like I said, you're not going to catch them out of position.
Right.
They're going to be tough and get after it. So.
No, again, and the games are always pretty tight.
Yeah.
It's being familiar with each other in some ways. I mean, you just can't change your whole offense or change your whole defense because you played somebody earlier.
No doubt.
So there's a lot of familiarity. So does it really come down to the willingness to do? Or is it about the effort, or are there other factors involved in a matchup that's a second matchup of the year?
Well, I think anytime you play somebody twice, it's extremely tough. Whether you won or lost the first time. Obviously the two schools know each other, the kids know each other. It's a rivalry game. Like you said, that it's extremely important for them playing us, and then now being in the third round of the playoffs, It makes it even bigger. It really comes down to, we're going to have to catch some breaks, and, we're going to have to take care of the football, and we're going to have to do, a great job of, doing assignment-based stuff. And like I said, just, hold on for dear life and make sure, we're able to be there in the end. So
you fight like heck all year to get that home field advantage. So how much is it, from your perspective, how much of an importance is that for Venice to have this game at home? I mean, it's a big deal. I know for a lot of people, but your opinion, what do you think?
Coach P is going to hate me for this, but I'm a road guy.
Are you really?
Yeah, like I said, I know we play a bunch of home games, and that's good. I know, financially that's really good for the school and good for Venice athletics. But I think there's a mystique, especially in high school, playing on the road. So, but I do feel like, like I said, there is a familiarity. Our kids know the routine, know where we're going to be at what time, where we're going to be, and everything. And I'm sure that helps. There's a comfort level, to that. But, I like playing on the road.
So I'll tell you this. It's funny because I've said this a lot. I get a better feel with the team, how the team's going to be on the road.
I've heard you say that.
I like the road. I like to get on the bus
and
see how things are going there. I like to see how everybody's interacting, because sometimes you look and you say, it's not bad stuff. It's just like who's paying attention,
right?
Who didn't forget everything they needed to do for the game, the knee pads or whatever it may be.
Hell, we had one of our only 2 away games this year. We had a kid forget his cleats, so
it happens. I've seen it before. Trust me.
Yeah, no doubt. Me too.
And you see that stuff, and then but also it's like, it's just how the approach to the game is different.
Right.
You don't be late be there on time. Be this. Do whatever else. Have a partner, whoever you're partnered up with, and all those different things. It really, when it first dawned on me, was way back in the day when we first went on the road on ESPN to Virginia back when Trey Burton was a senior.
Oscar Smith.
Yeah, Oscar Smith,
Yeah.
right. And I remember getting on going from, we had to change flights in Atlanta.
Right.
And all those kids were walking side by side. There wasn't a lot of chatter. They were walking, and like I was at the back of the line making sure nobody wandered off, right? Didn't have to worry about that.
Right.
But I had people come up and said, is that like a military thing, or is that like they're very enamored with what was going on. I'm like, no, this is high school. Very much so about how they presented themselves and how they conducted themselves. And I see that with our kids when they get on the bus, they do a certain thing. Now, if they win the game, there's a little bit of chatter.
Absolutely.
We would expect that.
Right.
But everything leading up to it, I'm in agreement with you on that in particular. So I know you're excited about the game coming up, and probably at this point on a Wednesday night, Thanksgiving will be a nice distraction. But I'm sure that when you wake up on Friday morning, it's going to be go time.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Like I said, we've kind of made everything. Tomorrow we're just going to put finishing touches on it, and obviously do our Salvation Army tradition that we've done for the last several years. But yeah, then like I said, spend some time with the family, and then get ready to rock and roll on Friday.
So I just asked Coach Peacock a little bit. We talked about there are other games in the area. Obviously, we're the 941 SportsZone here on the podcast, and Venice Riverview being probably the one that's probably got most everybody's eyes on it right now. But then you've got Booker at Bishop Verot and Carter Mooney at Victory Christian School out of Lakeland. Right. You probably don't know as much about each team. Maybe you do. But with that being the case, you've got Booker, who kind of were underdogs in the two games they played. They went out and beat Fort Meade, and they went out and redeemed themselves against Lemon Bay. I know a little bit about Bishop Verot, had a good quarterback, really good team, number one ranked team, maybe in the 2S category. You know anything about either game or any opinion on either game?
Yeah, I do actually. I think Booker's done a really good job this year. You got to give credit where credit's due. The first two games they went out and took care of business. They have drawn a very tough matchup in Bishop Verot. They're 11-1. They're the number 2 team ranked behind Cocoa, a team that we played earlier in the year.
Yes.
So, like I said, that is a tough draw, on the road. But, Booker's had a heck of a year. They've done a great job. Those coaches have, really rallied the kids, and they've gotten better throughout the year, which, like I said, they're from 941. We haven't always seen eye to eye. We've had some differences here and there, but like I said, it's cool. I wish them the best, especially playing on Thanksgiving. That's a cool thing for them to start, and, we'll see, if they can continue that tradition through going forward.
I know, Birchville has a quarterback, but Booker's been platooning 2 quarterbacks.
Right. They
got Alex Diaz, and they've got Jordan Johnson. They've also got a good running back in a 2 to Hunter, who's doing a real good job.
Yeah, he's a tough kid.
And I haven't seen a lot of highlights, but I also know that the wide receiver, it's
Booker.
Yeah,
Josiah Booker.
That's the one. Yeah. And so they've definitely got some talent on both sides of the
Oh,
ball.
absolutely.
So they're definitely going to bring it. I mean, I would probably tell you that I know Verot has played a lot of teams down there, but this might be a team they face that it could be talent for talent.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt. And Booker has a lot of talent. I know they have a lot of young talent on defense. Their defensive line is very talented. Coached by Coach's Life, and he does a great job. Like I said, I think a lot of it's going to come down to the experience. I think Bishop Road maybe has played a little bit harder schedule. Maybe they got a little bit older kids. I know Booker's still fairly young.
Yeah.
So like I said, it's going to be one of those things where being on the road in a big time game. I just wish them all the best, and hopefully they have some success. So
Carter Mooney against Victory Christian. Both of those teams were lower seed.
Right.
Won their games. So Carter Mooney gets the home game.
Right.
I know they've got some players on wide receiver.
Oh, absolutely.
They've got the Gator Teddy Foster, who's going to Florida, and they have Lang, who's going to South Carolina.
Right.
So they got commits right there. Quarterback that was at Venice for a while, Mr.
Mikey
Valentina.
V. Yeah.
And I know he was hurt.
Yeah.
And I've been told he's available to play this week.
Yeah, I know he came back. I talked to one of their kids whenever I went up to see Ryan Downs up in the hospital. One of their kids was there, and he was saying that Mikey V was working his way back. It's good to see. I remember watching that hit live. Like I said, it was unfortunate.
Yeah.
Love Mikey V. He's a great kid.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. Carter Mooney's had a great year. I know a couple of the coaches over there. Coach Dave Marino. And obviously another Sarasota County school, 941, 9-2 on the year. They're playing a Victory Christian team, 6-5. And like I said, I want to say Victory Christian is like 11th ranked in 1S, and Carter Mooney's ranked a little bit higher. Hopefully they can pull it out, and get into the semis and see what happens. So.
And I think that if Mooney wins, they're guaranteed, I believe, a home game. I'm not sure. I know there's. I try to. I don't know. I know you guys are good about.
Yeah.
I went through all the scenarios, and I got almost sick looking at all the scenarios.
I think if they win, it's kind of like us. If they win. If somebody beats somebody else, then they can get home. Yeah. But I don't know if it's guaranteed. But maybe I read it wrong. But I did see that today. So
yeah, because their bracket's a little shorter and a little bit more. So I don't know how that works.
Yeah, because they had a bye week first.
Yes.
So they started with less than they started with 16 instead of 32 like ourselves.
Right. So their playoff kicked it a little differently. So but anyway, it'll be fun to watch. I tell everybody all the time, man. Watch high school football when you get a chance to. It's live. It's amazing because you get all the enthusiasm of what's going on the campus, but especially in the playoffs.
No doubt.
Because you're going to fill up the stadium. Everybody's going to be there from both sides.
Well, John, you look at this right here. You're talking about 3 games, and you have 4 teams from Sarasota County.
Yeah.
I mean that's pretty special. I mean I know Carter Mooney is a private school, but they're still from Sarasota County, and I mean that's pretty special to have 4 schools in the playoffs in the 3rd round.
And that tells you where the level of football has gotten in Sarasota County. And you know what? I mean, I might be a little bit, but biased in this opinion. But when other teams are doing it and local, and they see, oh, look, Venice is in this game. All of a sudden, the kids start to rise up to the challenge now. Hey, we can do that. We should do that. You know what I mean? And I think that sort of drives it up a little bit because you've seen over the years. And I'm going to go way back on this one, Josh. I'm going to go back in the 80s. When you had Pensacola area was winning all the state championships. You had Escambia winning. You had all the different schools up there. They were dominant.
Niceville.
Right.
My brother's senior year was 1989. We went to Niceville, 48-0 at halftime. Kenny Felder and all that. So, yeah, I've been there, done that.
Yeah, and so then going for other times, there's been times where the Melbourne area has been hot with Titusville and all those different places. You see, of course, now – the one that stays hot is the Miami area, obviously with that kind of stuff. But you see where the talent is. But I think a lot of times that's the feed off each other kind of thing. You play each other a little bit here and there. It just kind of wells up a little bit. And I think this might be the chance or the time for Sarasota County, Manatee County. There was Manatee and Southeast for years that were doing really, really well, and there you go. So all that different stuff it tends to be hot spots, and this I think we're at that time in the area. So. Anyway, with that, we'll take another break, come back here, and we'll talk a little bit about some college football stuff.
All right.
FSU being a game that has a lot of weird stuff happen last week.
Oh, absolutely.
Kind of make this game very interesting. And also I want to talk to you about rivalry, since it's rivalry weekend. We'll talk a little about it as well. So with that, we'll take a break. Be right back here live at Bogies with the 941 Sports Zone right after this.
Douglas Jeep Chrysler Dodge Ram is excited to announce Black Friday savings all month long during the Black Friday sales event. Get a great deal on the new Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab from only $369 per month. Or drive a new Jeep Renegade Latitude from only $319 per month. Drive a new Jeep Grand Cherokee from only $399 per month. Get Black Friday savings all month long during the Black Friday sales event going on now at Douglas Jeep Chrysler Dodge Ram in Venice. Who has Black Friday savings all month long? Douglas does!
And we're back here on the 941 Sports Zone with Coach Josh Hunter. And Coach, UF-FSU might be the biggest rivalry. I mean, you can always argue that the Miami-Florida State game could be a bigger rivalry because of the conference affiliations.
Right.
But it's a big one, and it has a lot of implications this week. For Florida State, it's the obvious.
Right.
You have a chance to get to the playoffs, or you get a chance at the national championship. Obviously, you want to remain that undefeated team because right now they fell out of the top 4 to 5, lost their quarterback, Jordan Travis, to a gruesome injury. You don't hate to see that with a kid who's at the end of his career and really leading the team to heights they hadn't been in for a while. And that on the line. But for Florida, a home game against your rival, a win puts you in a bowl game scenario, 15 extra practices, all the things that go into trying to rebuild your team. So both have a lot of things going on, but both with backup quarterbacks. So Graham Mertz got hurt.
Right.
And I'll say in both cases, both quarterbacks were running.
Right.
Which running quarterbacks, you're always afraid of that kind of stuff.
You always have to worry about that.
And in Mertz's case, he was running and he took on 2 guys at the same time and ended up breaking or fracturing his collarbone. Opinions on that game and what you think may or may not happen on Saturday night?
I think that game always brings up a bunch of emotion throughout the state.
Sure.
You always, irregardless if Florida or Florida State's your team, everybody has an opinion upon it. Everybody knows rivalry weekend, being with college, having those games on Friday and then Saturday. And I go back to, we actually had a discussion today, with some players and coaches. We were just sitting around talking, I think the spread's like 6.5 or something like that. And I know that has a lot to do with, Travis being out and then Mertz being out. But I think a rivalry game is a rivalry game. I think being at the Swamp, I think Florida's going to play tough. I think Florida State's going to play tough. Florida State's got to really find themselves, especially falling out of the top 4. Having a backup quarterback. I know he's very talented. I know that team's very talented. Coach Norvell does a great job. But like I said, they got some work to do.
No doubt about it. And sometimes you wonder if you go into the game like this with a lot on the line, do you get ultra conservative? And hopefully you say, oh, we're going to keep it tight. And then what happens is you keep somebody, maybe the underdog being Florida in this case, stays around a little bit, and then think one bounce of the ball one way or the other can kind of make things go a certain way. If looking at it from, I'm a Gator fan.
Right.
Looking at it from a Florida State perspective, I think I'm coming at it 100%. Right now I'm on the outside looking in, so being conservative and eking out a win against Florida may not be enough to get you to where you want to be. You have to win your ACC championship as well, but nonetheless, I think I'm going for it. And what's to lose at this point?
Yeah, I think just watching. Obviously, I don't know Coach Norvell, personally or anything like that, but I don't feel like he's gonna let Travis being hurt deter or try to change the way they are as a football team. I think he comes out, obviously to win the football game, and obviously, they got to get an identity on offense now, going into the ACC championship, and then they're obviously going to go to a bowl. Obviously it could be bigger.
It's going to be a New Year's Six bowl more than likely, yeah.
Right, but it could be 2 more bowl games with the semifinals and all that. So, I think they come out. I think they win. I think it is tight though, because those games are typically tight. And I think Florida. I don't think Florida's going to lay down by any means.
I think they may be the team that puts it all out there to see what happens, even though they're backup quarterback.
Right.
So with that, I'm going to ask you a question. Rivalries in college football. Obviously, college football in particular, and college basketball, college sports in particular, there's always big rivalries. Which one of the big ones that you've been around with, watching football for a long time, which one stands out to you in college football as being the biggest, or a few of the biggest ones that you've watched over the years?
Oh man, that's a tough one. That would have been nice to have a little heads up. I would say I can remember when I was in high school, Peyton Manning being at Tennessee and being at those Florida games. Yeah. I can remember that. I know, you can't really say Miami, Florida State, but, it's starting to maybe come back a little bit. But, I think, the Florida, Georgia, obviously, because we're here, some of those are the ones that, come to mind, the ones that, I kind of enjoy. Probably one of the ones I enjoy the most is the Iron Bowl.
Yeah.
I know Auburn's a little down, this year and has been a little down here recently, but those games were always really fun to watch.
The fan bases a lot of time make the rivalry what they are.
Absolutely.
So Auburn and Alabama, I mean, you've seen things that have happened over the years when they went Toomer's Corner, when they poisoned the trees.
Right.
Those are things like we have to be really, really intensely involved in the rivalry
no
to
doubt.
do some of those things that they do.
No doubt.
But it has, and sometimes the longevity of the rivalry means something as well. Right. So I wrote a few down that I had seen, and in no particular order. Obviously, the one that stands out just from a traditional thing is Army and Navy.
Oh, yes.
So Army, Navy, you see that game.
Yep.
Just it's a chill bump kind of game to watch. It's always what I love what they've done with it is they made it outside of all the other stuff. It used to be on the same weekend as the championship games, but now it's a week after that.
Right, it's the conference championship weekend.
Yeah. So it's nice to see that they put it out there, and then you have obviously all the cadets and everybody else going onto the field, and has all that stuff. The games themselves normally tend to be very close because they don't have a lot of offense with each other. They kind of both play very close to the vest option running game stuff.
But those games are always real physical.
Yep. You mentioned Auburn, Alabama. Of course, that's a big one in the Iron Bowl. Michigan and Ohio State, I will say longevity in the last 10 years. Now it's been, I shouldn't say. Ohio State had a little bit of a head start. They were doing pretty well with Urban Meyer there.
Right.
But the last 3 years, Harbaugh's come back and won the game. So, but again, that rivalry, I don't think that people really, from the South, you think, it's Auburn, Alabama. But I know anything north of Kentucky, they're all about that game in particular.
No doubt.
OU Texas, which is again it's a rivalry game at a neutral site like Florida and Georgia. Florida Georgia, like you mentioned. Well, one game that's lost a little luster. I don't know if it's because it falls on maybe not in the ESPN wheelhouse or even CBS Sports or whatever it may be. But USC Notre Dame over the years, it goes way back with that one. But I think that's lost a little bit of luster.
Yeah, because I think too a lot of that too is like they haven't had the success, on the scale, especially USC, and I think that has a lot to do with it too. Notre Dame's is being on ABC. I think it's ABC, right?
Yeah.
NBC or something like
NBC.
that.
They have their own contract.
And they play, and like they were always pretty competitive, but USC's kind of fallen on hard times here recently, and I think that has a lot to do with it as well.
And then of course games that are like sort of cross city rivalries, USC UCLA.
Right.
And some again, there's games like that if you watch them, you see the intensity in the game. The Egg Bowl, Mississippi State and Mississippi. You've got the Oregon State. All the teams you see those kind of things going back and forth. But there's a lot of intensity. Some of those, but ones you don't even realize that go way back. Like in the Big Ten, I think the last 6 weeks of the Big Ten, they all play for some trophy.
Right.
The Oakland bucket, the old axe, some Billy Goat thing or whatever. They've all got different stuff that they do. So some of those rivalries have been there for quite a long time. Some of the ones that have been lost over the years, Oklahoma, Nebraska used to be huge.
Right.
And that kind of got lost in the shuffle somewhat. So because the realignments and everything else. One thing I will say with realignment, I'm sure you'll probably agree with this, maintaining some of these rivalries is imperative, though. You want to do it.
Yeah. You definitely want to do it, but I think it's tough. I can remember back, and I don't mean to cut you off, but I went to Eastern Kentucky, and our huge rivalry was Western Kentucky.
Yeah.
And then Western Kentucky went to 1A, and we played every year, and then all of a sudden we didn't play.
No more.
And that was a huge deal because I grew up Southeast Manatee rivalry.
Right.
And that was 8,000-9,000 people, and it was crazy. And when I went there, that was the equivalent. Like that was a huge deal. And when they went 1A, there was a long time where they didn't play, and they still don't. Excuse me. They still don't play on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the last time they did play. But that was kind of sad to see because when I first got there, we played every year.
Yeah, that's what you want to see.
Yeah.
Another one I actually watched last weekend was Harvard and Yale.
Oh, yeah.
It was kind of fun to watch that. I was watching, and I'm like, it was a very competitive game.
Yep.
Ivy League football is it's actually kind of fun to watch.
Absolutely.
So that was a big one. And then one I saw that I think the longest rivalry is Lehigh and Lafayette.
Yep.
Goes way back, and so that was one I also saw. But again, rivalry weekend, and you can't. There's not enough time to watch them all.
Right.
That's one of the days when you wish you had 5 TVs and you could be clicking one person with a remote control in each hand going to the one that's the most exciting.
No doubt. I'm close, John. My wife let me hook up the back patio. I got 3 now.
So you're getting there.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
I thought about this too. I don't know how you feel about the red zone on the NFL Network package, but I think it's the best invention or the best idea in a long time. For that rivalry week, that would be great to see if somebody would say, "Hey, let's get everybody tuned in and let's do a little." Let's like share
college red zone.
College red zone with all those rivalry games going on. I think Clemson, South Carolina is a big game. All those different games.
Yeah, no doubt.
So that would be kind of fun to watch.
Yes, sir.
With this, we'll take our final break of the night. Come back, and we do a segment here. I don't know if you know about this, but the Truly Nolan What's Bugging Me section. So if anything's on your mind or anything that you want to kind of get off.
Sports related?
It could be sports. Well, one time Peacock was upset about grocery shopping. He was a little annoyed with the going. So we got into that. We've done other things as well. So whatever's on your mind, maybe it's Thanksgiving stuff or whatever it may be this time of the year. There's a lot of things around this area that can bug you, from busy grocery stores and road traffic and you name all that stuff. So all that kind of stuff. So we'll take our break and come back and do the What's Begging Me segment sponsored by Truly Nolan. Back here in 40 seconds? We'll say 40 seconds. All right, right back. See you.
Douglas Jeep Chrysler Dodge Ram is excited to announce Black Friday savings all month long during the Black Friday sales event. Get a great deal on the new Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab from only $369 per month. Or drive a new Jeep Renegade Latitude from only $319 per month. Drive a new Jeep Grand Cherokee from only $399 per month. Get Black Friday savings all month long during the Black Friday sales event going on now at Douglas Jeep Chrysler Dodge Ram in Venice. Who has Black Friday savings all month long? Douglas does!
Lost another one?
We're back here at 941 SportsZone talking to the production crew.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. I'm new to this, John. Like I said,
That's fine.
they typically don't let me
production
do
crew.
live.
The production crew is always sort of they're in the everybody doesn't realize when you do these things, there's people behind the scenes.
Right.
They're talking to you right up to the second they said go, and then they stop talking, and you have to go start talking. So
Right.
it is what it is. So I'm going to start because I'm used to this. What's bugging me stuff. So what's bugging me this week is I've kind of gotten a little tired of the sort of coddling or the expected coddling of athletes that are a bit spoiled in their mannerisms, what they do, even on the field in some ways, then expecting to be coddled when they have controversial statements about maybe topical things that are out there in the real world. You see somebody making a statement like a Kyrie Irving. I have no problem with him
Right.
having an opinion on things, but then it's almost sort of like, well, if you don't agree with me, what are you going to do about it? And he tends to do that on everything. I mean, he was back at Duke. He was a flat earther. He's still a flat earther guy. If you want to think the Earth's flat, I'm fine with it. But I don't really think it needs to be something that you want me to have to agree with you about.
Right.
You may have a feeling about what's going on in a war somewhere or whatever's going on. But I don't feel as though that it seems like those particular – I'm not picking on him only. I'm just saying as an example that, everybody's supposed to be like, oh, I totally agree. In your opinion is the only one that matters. Right. I've seen it where we've had situations where athletes had said things in amongst their own field, about another player, and then somebody says something. Well, you shouldn't have said that, and then they get mad about it. And then when it happens to them, they want to go run and hide.
Right.
Okay, and stuff like that. We talked about there was the situation with taking knees in different situations. Again, your freedoms to do those things are fine, but I don't like the fact that those athletes then, when people don't agree with them and have the same right to their First Amendment right to speak about something, they're all of a sudden now you're wrong and you're against me and you're putting me down.
Right.
And in this time of where it should be about Thanksgiving and cheer and everything else, it just bothers me that these things come up and the expectation is we all have to agree with that particular person because they think that they have the pulpit or the stance to go ahead and say what they want to, and we have to all agree. And I just think that's not the way it should be, and we give them the liberties to say certain things, and we should have the ability, I say we, but anybody for that matter should have the ability to have differing opinions and be able to voice them as well without feeling like they're wrong.
No, I absolutely agree with you. Like I said, what's it called? What's bugging you? Man, I could talk about this for a long time. There's a lot of things that bug me. I always don't have the best filter about certain things like this, but
this is the time.
I guess my biggest thing is it kind of falls under the same thing that you're talking about here, but it's not so much about professional athletes, but it's about people's opinions. And somebody could say something and I may not agree with it, but I may not have something to say. But if I have something to say, and that puts somebody in a situation where they feel a certain way, it's mind-boggling to me about how sensitive society has gotten.
That's 100% right.
And like I said, I can't necessarily say the word that I want on air, and I don't know the proper term to use. But we're very sensitive, about certain things, and people take things the wrong way sometimes, and then the first thing they want to do is cry this or cry that, and I think that's probably the biggest thing that bugs me is is that we're not a little bit tougher because it trickles into our younger people, it trickles into our sports, it trickles into our society. It's just sad because I can remember a time, and I'm not that old, I don't feel like,
right,
but that we weren't as
sensitive,
soft
right,
as we are now as a whole, and that's sports included, and that's society as a whole, and it's just that's my opinion, and some people are going to be butthurt over me saying that, but
I'll emphasize that point because it isn't it's a global thing, but it's a local thing as well.
Right.
But that's my problem. You watch somebody who wants to voice an opinion on something again, and rightfully so, and then watch them react to the negativity or the contrary opinion, and then you've got kids on social media or whoever it may be saying, "Oh, I can't believe people said that," and then they take the same stance when they want to make a bold statement, say on their own, and then somebody comes back and says something contrary to it, right, and the response isn't, "Well, that's or I appreciate that. You have an opinion, I have an opinion. We agree to disagree," and
right,
that's how things used to get done. It was always
not anymore.
Not anymore. Now it's if you don't agree with me, then
right,
I'm going to find some way to tear you down,
right,
or tear you apart,
right,
as opposed to saying it's okay. Okay, and that's one of the things we're seeing it. and I don't want to get crazy with this, but we're seeing it right in our own in politics, in Congress right now. And this is a big leap from local Venice to Congress.
Right.
But they can't agree on things that should be things that you should be able to find common ground on. A budget, okay, whatever it may be. And then all of a sudden what happens is somebody decides, well, I don't like what you said about this, whatever thing you're doing, so I'm going to lob an insult at you, okay, and expect fully that you're not going to get the insult back. And then it seems like on both sides of the aisle, if you want to call it that, they both walk around with their feelings hurt because somebody says something and somebody says something back.
Right.
And then you see it all the way down to the local level, where if you have an opinion strong about your team or your school or your whatever it may be, somebody you voted for that matter, and you have a strong opinion, and somebody comes back at you or says something contrary, that somehow it's supposed to be a feelings hurt scenario as just a differing opinion.
Right.
And I think that's what it comes down to, and we're seeing more and more of that. And being a football coach, how do you settle things on a football field? You compete.
Oh yeah, you compete. You know, that's one thing. You know, and I know, you know, Coach P does a good job with this. Coach Shannon does a good job with this. Is like, you know, we're not real big talkers. You know, if there's something to be said, you know, obviously Coach Peacock could talk about it. But, you know, one thing I tell my guys is, you know, if we want respect and we want people to understand, you know, what we do and what we've been through and what, you know, how we've worked, you know, let's do our talking with our helmets.
Right.
You know?
And then after the game's over, you tip your cap to the guy you played, and hopefully that's the next time we'll see you again. And that's
Absolutely.
and I think a lot of that is, well, while you hope that it's always there, sometimes it's just not.
Right.
And unfortunately, that's what you have to look out for, and you got to be mindful of it. And that's something that you'd always hope that wouldn't be the case. Again, going back to you, I go back further than you. I don't recall that being an issue in the past. I mean, you might be a little upset about something after a game or whatever, but
well, you didn't have social media.
Correct.
You know, social media is a big, you know, and like I said, I enjoy Twitter sometimes a little too much, but you know, like I said, I have my opinions, and it's funny how, you know, sometimes that rubs people the wrong way.
Well, a lot of times too, I think some of that, what it's done is allow people who are not willing to hear other opinions, feeling they can get out there and say something, and then sort of veil themselves or hide themselves behind what's going to come next.
Right.
I think it was Herm Edwards a long time ago said, before you hit send, make sure you know what may happen one way or the other.
Right.
You know, think about it. And I think a lot of times it's easiest to go hit send and then sit there and say, oh, boo-hoo, you shouldn't have said that about me, or you shouldn't have said something against me, or whatever it may be.
Right.
So I think you're right. I think it's tough, and it's a tough situation to be in. And when you put yourself out there publicly, anybody's going to do that. We're doing it right now. If somebody has a different opinion, I'm fine with it.
Oh, they're absolutely. They're going to say something about how big my head looks and all that too, and the gray hair and all that. So I got it. I'm used to it. So. Well,
listen, like I said, I've been told all different kinds of stuff. Usually my family's telling me,
yeah.
What's going on with your hair? Or what's
right.
doing this? So yeah, it's all fine. It's all good. We do appreciate any opinions that are out there.
Absolutely.
On the 941 Sports Zone. So, Josh, with that, you've made it through your first edition.
Oh, it was great.
I
can honestly say, Francis, appreciate you, but I won't be doing this again. But, you know, appreciate you having me. And, you know, good luck. Good luck to the 941 Sports Zone.
You never know. You know, Coach Peacock is pretty persuasive when it comes to certain things.
No, this was actually a –
We need to have like a round table at some point in time.
Oh, that would be
have
bad.
One of those like 5 people get it all mic'd up and really hear some good stuff.
It's got to be unfiltered though.
Yeah, no doubt. No, yeah, that one would be unfiltered. No
Yeah.
doubt about it. So with that, again, thanks to Josh Hunter, thanks to Coach John Peacock.
Appreciate you having me.
And thanks to Francis as well. We appreciate you getting us on the air live. And I hope everybody who watches this is either going to or has gone to the Venice Riverview game or whatever local game is around.
Yeah, come out.
Well.
It's gonna be a good show. Like I said, you know, 2 good teams playing, and let's get after it.
Be fun with it.
Yeah.
With that, we'll see you here next week or next time. It depends on what's going on the 941 Sports Zone. For Josh Hunter, I'm John Mussone. See you next time.
Thank you.
All right.